Hey, hey, hey! Welcome everybody to another episode of the Musician's Mentor podcast. I'm your host, Travis Mark, and today I have the privilege of speaking with fellow South African-born singer-songwriter Nikki Williams. Nikki now resides in Nashville, Tennessee full-time. We'll talk about that in the interview. But she is responsible, or at least in part has been responsible for some of the biggest pop hits we've heard over the last few years, including Heart Attack by Demi Lovato, and Like My Mother Does by Lauren Aliana. So I'm not going to blabber on, we're going to go straight to the interview, but I will say, as usual, please don't forget to give us a rating or review. It really helps us. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Nikki Williams. Hey Nikki, how's it going?
What's up? Good.
What's up? Hey, did you ever watch Scary Movie with that, what's up?
Oh, yeah, what's up?
What's up? I love that thing. All right, Nikki, what I typically do with these interviews is I usually ask my guest every single time to give a brief introduction about themselves so that our listeners know kind of where you're coming from and a little bit about your background without us going into like every single detail. So if you wouldn't mind, tell us who you are.
Hello, everyone. I am Nikki Williams. I was born and raised in Port Elizabeth, South Africa, although now it's called something else that I can't pronounce. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've lived here for like 17 years, I think, approximately. And I do music for a living, and I love it.
Awesome. Let's talk a little bit about what led you to end up in Nashville. What were some of the hardest parts about relocating for you?
Honestly, I was about 16. Was I 16? Oh, Lord, I can't do math. But it was actually just leaving all my friends from school. You know, my family just they wanted to provide the opportunities for me, better opportunities for me to do music and just kind of escape some of the crime. And so it was really tough because I, like most of my family and friends, live there. So, being a teenager, I was not having it. I was upset. So it was a very big, it was tough. And I don't know, I was so angsty and just angry, just, normal teenager stuff. And, just starting a whole new life all over was really, really hard.
Yeah, especially at that age. I mean,
Yeah.
hormones running wild,
Good Lord.
and, new person, new town where already there's like these cliques, by sort of 16,
Exactly.
15,
I didn't
16,
know
there's
anyone.
cliques,
I felt so like out of place. Everyone thought I was like, the shiny new toy, like, oh, they call me Hey Africa, you know. But it was I don't know, people make fun of my accent and they just really didn't know anything about like where I came from.
Yeah.
And so they just asked me like, like to this day I still get asked those weird questions about having a lion pet and I just say yes, I do.
Yeah, you kind of get to a point where it's easier to just agree.
Yeah. And then people are just like, wow, that's so cool. I'm like, yeah, I built my own hut with my bare hands.
I've got
I
this
just
great
make up a cock.
I've got this great picture of my brother and I think we were in the Drakensberg somewhere, definitely towards that area, and we stopped. We kids. My parents took us on some kind of holiday, and we stopped, and there were all these huts that had been made by like, the tribal people and stuff like that, and we can't be older than maybe 4 and 5, and we standing there in our like underwear, like flexing in front of these huts. Right. And when I first moved here, I put that up on my like Facebook profile as like my thing. And then when anyone asked, I'd be like, yeah, that was my home,
Oh my gosh, is it still up? I need to go check it out.
Oh yeah,
after this.
I'll send it to you. It's
Oh, my
definitely
word.
there. But it's funny because it's like, I think growing up in South Africa, and I mean, I don't want to talk about this too much because ideally I want to talk about you and your music, but growing up in South Africa, we seem to learn so much about Europe and America, yet I feel like not many people seem to learn much about Africa, except for the obvious, and that is the turmoil and the apartheid part of
Yeah,
it, and
true
it's
that.
like it's really sad because there's so many good parts about South Africa too. And hey, well, if anyone's listening, go and educate yourself because it's a beautiful
Yes,
place.
please.
All right, so
I'm actually making a nice cup of rooibos tea right now.
for those that don't know, rooibos translates to red bush, and it is a hot boiled tea that some people put with milk and sugar. I do, at least.
That's what
And
I'm doing right now. Yeah.
nice, and it is fantastic. So if you ever get the chance, rooibos is what you should do. You boil yourself a cup
Yes.
of that and go write some songs, baby.
Yes, my mother just came back from a trip. She went back to SA for like 3 weeks, and so she brought me a big pack of fresh pack rooibos, which is, the best.
Amazing. So Nashville's like one of the biggest musical cities in the world.
Yes.
How did you sort of start getting involved working in the music scene? And at what point did you possibly think that maybe this could be your career?
I've actually never had any other job in my entire life. So, like, basically, since I was born, I knew that this is what I'm going to do.
It's
Um,
amazing.
but yeah, I mean, we moved. So my family and I, we moved to Los Angeles to begin with. Um, and we were there for like 6 months, and um, we met this lady, Renelle. Um, we had met her before when we took a trip because I did a performance at the Holocaust Museum there before when I was like a year before we moved.
Hmm.
Um, and then um, and then we met this lady there, and then she was like, "Hey, you should come visit me in Nashville." And so me and my mom, we went and we just got on a plane and we went to go visit her for a couple weeks and decided, yes, see, we love this place. And she knew a lot of people in the music industry and introduced me to a lot of people, and I just, we were just like, wow, we like this place. This is more our style. Um yeah, like it was great, and we moved not long after that, maybe a month after that we moved to Nashville. Um and then yeah, and then we've been here ever since. I mean, I've moved back to LA in between, but I was like 21. But came back to Nashville, man. Everyone
Nashville's
comes
great.
back here.
It's I love the South. Just the South in general is
Mm.
it's where it's at for me. Um, so let's just dissect this a little. So you're kind of like 16, 17, I'm imagining at this point, and
Mhm.
you kind of like you meet this lady and you come to Nashville and she's introducing you to some people and stuff, and you're performing. So you're performing as an artist, a singer yourself, correct?
Yeah. And this is before I even started writing songs. I didn't even start writing until I was like 17, 18. And so like what happened was I had my first writing session in Nashville. And my mom was like, "Hey, guess what you're doing today? You're gonna go into a writing session." I was so nervous, but I mean, it turned out great, and I just started writing more and more, and eventually I signed a publishing deal. And so I've had different publishing deals over the years with different companies, and I've been writing.
Yeah.
And I've done the pop artist thing, like when I was touring a little bit, but that life is really not for me.
So do
Um,
you prefer the writing side?
I really do. I mean, I do. I like to perform, but I just don't see myself going on the road, like performing every night, like for hours. And it's not my style. I don't know. I like to write songs, record, and then go home and drink wine and watch Netflix.
Nice. What are you watching at the moment? Anything good?
Last night I actually binge watched a show it was on Prime called, like, I think it's called Boundless, about discovering the West Indies from a different route
Hmm.
from Spain or something. It was just like a 6 part or whatever vibe. And so I just I spent like 6 hours watching that. I can't stop something when I start it. I have an issue.
Yeah, isn't it funny how TV's changed since we were kids?
It really has. It's crazy. Like
yeah.
I used to have to like have a TV guide.
Oh man, and if you found a program you liked, and if you didn't have a VCR, and that program was like, I don't know, Tuesday night at 6 p.m., you had to
Yeah,
be
you
home
couldn't
by
even get
Tuesday
it.
at 6
You could
p.m.
miss it
Yeah, it's
forever.
like we're so spoiled now, man. People don't even understand.
I know. We had to like cancel all our plans and be like, this is my standing appointment
Yeah.
for this specific show.
Man, I remember I'd started gigging. I was also not too different in age of you. I was like 15, 16 and started gigging, and the first band I was in was really like, we were workhorses. We had decided like there was no way we weren't gonna gig, and I think we did like a few hundred gigs in the first couple of years of being in a band. And man, all of that kind of stuff, like the social life aspect, the comfortableness of like watching, I don't know, Friends on a Friday night kind of thing, that just all went out a window, and you were just like, So then when streaming finally came out years later, I was like, I binge watched all my like favorite programs, and I was like, wait, I've never seen like half of these things. It's super cool.
Yeah, same. I know we really, really are spoiled now. Like, I mean, I used to have to. I mean, I can't believe I used to have to wait like a week sometimes for the episode of something.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, that is insane to me now. Like, that's wow.
Yeah, and I wonder if people could do it now, because, like, you know, there's all these sort of research articles and stuff about people's attention spans and things like that.
No, everything is like, it's right at the tip of your fingers now.
Yeah, it's got to be instant.
We still had to like wait for that bloody whatchamacallit for internet, and it was like, so slow.
Dial-up.
Like dial-up, and I used to have to go to the library to like research anything. Like go to the actual library and we can do photocopies.
Oh my God. Yeah. Geez.
Oh, wow.
And you'd have to pay. You'd have to pay you like 20 cents a copy or something, huh?
Exactly. Oh my gosh! And then like sometimes I would like laminate stuff and for my projects.
Amazing. Let's talk about songwriting. What's I mean, you've had major success as a writer. Obviously, the biggest hit you were involved with was Demi Lovato's Heart Attack. Now, we don't necessarily have to talk just about Heart Attack. I'm talking on the grand scheme of things. What's your thought process when creating? Like, do you go into a writing session? I suppose, let me backtrack this a little. Do you go into a writing session and what happens in that writing session just happens? Or are you going into more writing sessions as okay, we've got this pitch for such and such an artist, we're going to try to create for this? Or, hey, so-and-so is blowing up and I've got this song that might suit them, why don't we try to write for that? What's your process?
Honestly, it's always different, you know. It's not always, sometimes it's for like TV and film stuff, and it's definitely something specific, you know, like going through these sessions a lot, and they actually send you like a list of words that they need to be in a song for that has to be, you know, part of the commercial, like, or just like an actual vibe about the song. I mean, it's going to get very specific for that.
Yeah.
But most of the time I just go in and just always just come up. I don't know, like usually there's like, I work with a lot of track people that already have tracks made, and then go through the tracks and pick one. That's more for like the pop stuff, you know. And then I'll just start singing a melody, and usually let's just have a mic in the room and just start singing, and words kind of can naturally come around, and then just go from there. I don't know, it's different every time. It just depends on what I'm doing.
So in that situation, are you kind of more responsible for the top line than the song? And how do you guys decide on how you split those kinds of songs? And I know that that's maybe a really detailed question.
It's different. It's different with everybody because it depends. That is actually, I don't even know how to answer that question because it depends on what it's getting used for. At the end of the day, it's like it's gonna get really ugly sometimes. Yeah, and it's yeah. But I mean, I work with people that we usually just split everything evenly. But you get people that are like really greedy, and like it gets it can be an ugly business, man. And I just have my attorneys deal with that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it,
Because
actually.
I mean, see, I don't want to burn bridges with people, but I want shit to be fair.
Yeah.
And like when you just talk business directly with someone like that, it's not for the best. You have to have your representatives, go back and forth and like that. Otherwise, you can just make enemies. Because I mean, I just don't have patience for people, man.
Yeah, especially if you feel like you've done a sort of large amounts in a song and
Yeah,
suddenly they go, well, no, it's 80% mine. You're like, wait,
yeah.
what?
I'll be like, yo, no, that's not happening, bro.
So have you ever found yourself in a situation, and if this is too personal, then by all means, you don't have to answer.
I have a couple times, but I don't want to talk about that.
Fine, we won't.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine. Let's kind of, again, we're gonna just kind of go back into these songwriting rounds and stuff, because I find them fascinating. I do a lot of co-writing and stuff, and down here we don't call them sounds like songwriting sessions and stuff. We just a bunch of dudes in a room with a guitar kind of thing. But I know in Nashville it gets taken real seriously.
Mhm.
Do do you find that like the writing sessions come by organically? Like you run into a writer in town and you're like, hey, we should write some songs, and you start writing some songs? Or is it a matter of when you've got your publishing deals in place and when you signed with your PROs and stuff like that, are they helping set up these appointments for you guys? What's the
Yeah,
deal?
that's definitely. I mean, that's their job actually. But I mean, a lot of my sessions, I actually really have like a group of people that I like to work with that I've over the years that I've kind of stick to that always it's always good.
Yeah.
And those people will, and then that person like will maybe bring in someone else that I've never worked with before just to change it up.
Yeah. That's cool.
But I mean, we just like, I don't know. I've just kind of set my own schedule because I just do whatever I want.
Yeah, and it's the bonus of being self-employed. It's the
Yeah.
best part about it. So let's put a hypothetical situation in place. Like, let's say you and I get into a room together and we've never written together, and both of us show up in the room, and I don't have tracks ready.
I mean, if you have a guitar, that's fine. We can go from there.
All right, that's what I was going to ask. Is that pretty much how
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
it?
no, absolutely. I mean, it's not always tracks. Sometimes you just sit around and you play guitar and you just you come up with a song, you write, and you just have like a work tape, and then you can make a track after that,
Cool.
or you can make one while you're creating. It's really no rules.
What about, I remember when I was in England, my publisher, she wouldn't take songs that weren't like demos. I'm talking demos. She wouldn't take demos that weren't fully produced to pitch to artists.
I mean, if she wants, you don't have to fully produce everything. If if your publisher wants to pitch a song, if they like something that they want to pitch, not every song is going to be a winner. So you don't have to fully produce everything that you make. So, yeah, yeah, no. I mean, sometimes you just have a rough demo that you have, and if it comes up later for a specific pitch, you can do like the full demo work on that. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to waste your time doing a full demo of everything.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've heard about Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
and I always found that quite appealing.
Yeah. No, it kind of used to be that way when I first started writing. I used to have to demo everything, but it's just really a waste of money when you hire so many like studio musicians. Sorry, I'm eating fish.
Hey, no problem.
When you're hiring studio musicians, and then it just ends up being too much money. So
Yeah,
just keep it simple and just whatever is going to be pitched, you can make a full demo of that. And it's so easy now. It's like everyone's like computer stuff. Everyone's doing everything on their iPhones. It's like life is much easier.
yeah.
I remember having a dictaphone when I was in writing sessions.
I still have a dictaphone. I don't use it in writing sessions, but I do still have the one I used to. This is long for the kids listening who think that we always had voice notes on phones. I'd be walking around or driving to a gig or something, and like suddenly you get this melody in your head, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta remember that. And so I've still got that dictaphone. And
I
thank
still
God
have
for that
mine
thing,
somewhere in a
man.
box with the tapes and everything. Oh my goodness.
Hey, you've probably got some hits on there, man. You should go through that
Who
stuff.
knows? Or maybe just you never know. Maybe I just have terrible things on there.
Hey, you
I
never know.
remember making all my notes, like just I just I should go through those because I would be very interested what 18-year-old Nikki's notes were.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, like you just never know, man. You could have really been on gold with some of that stuff. Not to say that
Yeah.
you aren't on gold now. I'm not trying to imply
No,
that.
but I mean, I forget. Like, I mean, I've written so many songs, and like, I sometimes forget
Of
like stuff
course.
that I've written, and I'm like, wow, that is a great song. Like, I mean, sometimes I need to just I feel like I need to get more on top of my shit. I'm like terrible with admin. I got a laptop about a year ago, and then it got stolen, and it had like. I was like doing really well, starting to organize all my stuff, have my lyrics and my date of creation and all that stuff, all the information, and um, and then it got stolen. I didn't back it up, and I hadn't.
Oh
I'm just old
no.
school, and I suck. So now I have to start over again.
That sucks, man.
Yeah,
Um,
it takes a lot to like for me to have enough patience to even do that shit in the first place.
well, especially because I'm imagining that if you're anything like me and you're a creative, so I imagine we're more similar than we realize, but you'll end up with hundreds of voice notes now, right? And
Yeah,
you don't always have the time to label them because you may be singing in the car or you're walking your dog or you're doing something like that. And so you'll end up with voice note 603 and voice note 604. And so, like, at a point, you'll end up with all these voice notes. And even if you do try catalog them, which, I'm guilty of this
I know
too. I
you have
have
to do
tried.
it
It's like you
immediately. I
have
need
to.
to. Oh my gosh! No, this is like my goal now, just to be better at that because it will make my life so much easier in
Yeah.
the future if I just take like 2 minutes to do that immediately. I know, terrible.
Yeah. You and me both, Nikki.
I saw that you spoke to
Yeah, I
Cindy
spoke.
Alton.
I spoke to Cindy. It was
She's the
fantastic. I
best. I
don't know
love
if.
her so much.
Yeah, she's incredible, and just
It's her
what a
birthday
story.
today.
I saw that. Incredible.
hmm I think I'm going to see her tonight.
Amazing. Please give her a hug
Yeah,
for me and
I
say happy
will.
birthday. Buy her a drink on me, and I'll send you some PayPal. Buy each other a drink, and
Cindy doesn't
I'll
drink
send you
anymore.
PayPal. Buy her a water.
I'll buy her a Subway sandwich. That's her favorite thing.
No, you know what you should do? You should take her a cup of rooibos.
Oh, you know what? I'll take her some tea bags.
So, what are some tips that you could maybe offer up and coming writers slash singers on, you know, like they just starting up, they don't have a clue on how to start or become involved in the industry. What would you sort of advise or tell them?
Well, honestly, I think all these up and coming writers and singers are actually doing a really good job with all this like social media stuff that I'm terrible at. So maybe they can teach me something instead. But but honestly, just don't spread yourself thin. Always aim to do the best you can. If something's not if you're not feeling something, just don't do it. You don't have to finish something that you don't like. Don't be afraid to start fresh.
That's cool.
But yeah, for real though, can someone please teach me how to use the internet? I suck at it.
Well, you can't be doing that bad. I mean, you got thousands of followers. You're doing just fine.
I know, but I mostly post about food.
Well, people love food. You got to eat.
That's okay. Well, that's my other dream. Okay, I want to have a food truck. Okay, I want to have my own food truck. I want a South African food truck here in Nashville.
That's
And
actually a brilliant idea.
yeah, and I mean, there's lots of South Africans here, and we all support each other. We've got like our Facebook page. We get together, we braai.
Huh.
It's cool. Yeah.
That's damn cool. Maybe I should come down to Nashville sometime.
Maybe you should.
Get a burry roll.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch things around a little. I know that in addition to the writing and stuff, you still put out music as yourself as an artist.
Yeah.
Do you find it's been hard to push your own material when you know that other people could sing some of the songs you do, or do you just kind of all let it roll in together?
I just go with the flow. I'm working on a EDM project right now.
Cool.
It's going to be a it's kind of a top secret thing, so I can't really say much about it
Ah,
because
shit.
it's
We'll
I
delete
can't
that.
really say much about it. But no, it's fine. But um, you won't know that it's me.
Oh,
Let's just say
wow.
that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And also cool because, like, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to listen to any previous episodes or anything.
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't quite yet. But I'm gonna listen to the Cindy one right after this.
Yeah, well, some stuff that, like, I'll end up talking about with some people is just the importance of diversity. Like,
Hmm.
you take some of the songs you've had placed and synced and things like that. You could so easily be pigeonholed and go, I'm only going to do this because I've had success. So the fact that you're trying to branch out and do different things and stuff, it's so cool. And
Yeah,
I
I do
think,
all different things. I'm working with like I call him a hip rock artist now
cool.
that I've been writing with and working on his project. That's really cool. His name's Morningstar. I post about him quite a lot. We're releasing a music video that I'm actually in the video. I'm playing a villain.
Nice.
um, but yeah, I'm doing that. I do like country stuff. I do pop. I do a lot of stuff. And it's. I don't want to only do one thing when I'm capable of doing so many things.
Yeah, why would you?
I know. I'd get bored.
And if you relate it back to food, and I think I might have said this in an episode at some point, it's like, it's funny how some people, I found this, I was heavily involved in, like, the hard rock genre for a few years. And I found that when that particular project broke up and I started the next project, we weren't quite so hard rock. And a lot of
Mhm.
the group of fans or people that used to come and watch that particular band, they really used to hate that. It was almost like if you're not doing that, we're not going to support it kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's not cool.
You wouldn't eat just a burger for the rest of your life. There's, like, pasta,
Exactly.
and there's pizza, and there's pancakes,
I know you
and
have to
there's,
evolve and you have to,
yeah,
change it
it's
up a little
it's
bit.
interesting. Nikki, here's a hard one, and you can think about it if you want to, unless you maybe have one loaded and ready to go. What do you think has been the hardest part for you about being a musician slash songwriter uh, for so long? What's been the hardest part by
Mm,
this point in your life?
probably getting old. uh,
How so?
I know I'm so not with the times right now. I'm trying, but it's really tough, and it's also it's just there's so much music being put out constantly. It's so hard for me to keep up. I don't even know who's who and what's what anymore. So I just end up listening to 80s music in my living room and dancing around and
That's
just
cool.
stick to the old shit. No, but I mean, it's yeah, it is. It's just really tough. It's become extremely competitive because it's more and more and more artists being signed and more. I feel like the market is just oversaturated, and the streaming thing is just making people way less money than they deserve, especially writers.
Yeah, I mean, what's that? Zero point zero
It's
zero zero three
Sokol, that's what it
cents.
is. Oh,
I read a stat the other day, and I could be wrong, so please, anybody who might be listening, don't misquote me. But I read a stat the other day that a million streams or a billion streams, I couldn't remember, only equated to like $4,000. And,
I don't even know, but I know it's not much at all.
well, what people don't seem to take into account with that is, like, okay, I get if you get in those numbers across all the DSPs, then that's not bad. But when you have to give 50% of that to your publisher, or if there's numerous writers per song,
Hmm.
and then 50% is going to a publisher and the rest is getting split, it's really not a lot of money.
It really isn't. Like the money thing is inconsistent. That's another tough thing about being in this industry is like sometimes you make a good chunk of money, sometimes you don't make any money. So
Yeah.
it's can get a little tough.
Well, let's delve into that for a second, if you wouldn't mind.
Mhm.
We're not going to go into your personal finances, of course, but how do you find being self-employed as an entertainer or in the entertainment industry? How do you find handling money has been for you? We don't have the luxury of here's a certain salary you get every month, here's your pension, here's your benefits. We don't have that. So have you got any advice for people who are sort of delving into this career about just trying to handle their money?
Let's definitely find yourself a good business manager, because I mean, us as creative people, we're not all good at doing taxes and all that kind of stuff. That's very important, especially me. So I have someone do my taxes. My mom actually is my business manager. She like budgets all my stuff for me and everything. I couldn't do anything without her, because I would just be like living under a bridge somewhere probably.
I see that you work quite, I don't want to say exclusively, but quite a lot at a studio. I unfortunately didn't write down the name. I think it's Red
Yeah, Red
Star.
3, Red
Red
3.
3. Okay, Red
Yeah,
3.
I work
Tell us
there a
about
lot.
tell us about that. What's the situation there? What's your involvement there? How many days do you go in? What's
I
what's
don't
the
really
deal?
have a specific amount of days. I do work with a producer there, a specific producer there, um, that's there all the time, and we do a lot of work together. And Red 3 is my publisher, and yeah, and they have like their own studio in town, and it's just easy. So I don't have to like book studio time. I can just go in whenever I want, to work with those specific people. Or the other people I work with also have their own studios, so I never actually have to like rent out a studio, which is great.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And when you're going in there, are you like kind of doing what you mentioned earlier? You kind of going in there and helping mostly with top line kind of stuff, or
Yeah.
are you
Sometimes we just go in and like have drinks and just play around and have fun, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah, sometimes you just want to hang out and make music
Yeah.
and just, just for fun, and then, sometimes something really awesome comes out of it.
Here's like possibly a bit of a juvenile question to ask. With the amount of songs I'm imagining you've written at this point in your life, do you have any songs in your catalog that you were convinced were going to be hits that maybe still haven't been put out, or have you had
100%. Quite a few.
and what about songs that maybe have done well that you did you ever have songs do well that you thought, nah, no one's gonna care about this song, and it totally
I don't want to say anything about that. I don't want to piss people off.
Okay, no,
Yeah,
I
don't
always
wanna-
wonder because I've heard stories about "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N'
No.
Roses. You know,
Tell me the story.
And-
I want to know.
well, the story that I've heard fairly consistently over the years is that nobody else in Guns N' Roses wanted to release that song, and Axl was like, "This is gonna be like massive," and the riff, the do 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 do
Yeah.
do thing, that was like a finger exercise that Slash would practice backstage, and Axl kept apparently pushing to kind of turn this thing into a song, and everybody just thought he was being full of crap, But
Wow.
I mean that's become. I mean, Jesus, that's probably one of the biggest songs ever.
It's so massive. I remember when I was 14 in South Africa, I was touring with a band, and I know it's really young to be touring, but it was like
No,
a band, and
it's
we
good.
did a bunch of covers, and Sweet Child of Mine was one of the songs that I covered, and it was badass. People went crazy as soon as we started playing that song. People went nuts.
It's one of those songs, it's
It
kind
really
of
is.
it's
Like once
become
that riff starts,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, woo!"
Yeah. Exactly. It's just that kind of song, I think it's one of the first songs on YouTube to ever surpass 1 billion views. Which I mean, again,
Wow,
I
I
don't
learn
know
something
what.
new every day.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I mean, again, they got to be getting some kind of or who I can't remember who the label was that put that out.
Yeah,
Hang on.
I have no idea.
I should know, but I don't. But I mean, I'm sure they get some kind of pretty kickback off that. But
I'm
I mean,
sure
1
that
billion.
they've lived the rest of their lives off of that. I mean,
Oh,
all of their music is badass.
yeah, man, easy.
Yeah, but that's when music used to make like a shit ton of money. Like,
Well, that's what made Cindy's interview so kind of like just tough, gut wrenching in a bit, because it's like I always knew that Clouts did very well. I didn't realize I mean, again, I had heard, and if you go listen, or if any listeners want to go back and listen on that to that interview, they can. But I had always heard that her manager had kind of screwed them,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize though just how badly he screwed them. I mean, they sold 10 million records. We're talking late 70s, huh?
I
10
know.
million physical records. Like, just think about the money that must have generated.
I know.
You know? Shit.
I know. I talk to Cindy all the time. Actually, we write songs together. We write together, and we're about to do our first performance together.
So cool. So
Yeah.
cool. Wish I could be there, man. What do you think has been the hardest part about being a musician for you?
The what?
The hardest part about being a musician?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Think about it for a second. We're not on a time limit here.
I honestly, I don't know how to answer that question.
Fine, think about that. We'll switch it around. What has been the best piece of advice you've ever received in regards to your musical career?
Probably just to use it to channel like my emotions and just really be honest in my lyrics, you know, and not be afraid. And it really has helped. It's basically like free therapy. So
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I started out, you know, I was so scared to say something in a writing session. I was so scared to give my opinion. You know, it took a lot of guts. It took a while for me to be able to feel confident enough, you know, to, you know, just come on and give my opinion or give a melody or something. Because I was, you know, I was kind of like, I kind of got thrown into it a little bit. So, and I was working with like, you know, people that I've done for years. And so I was a little bit intimidated at first, but after a while, I mean, you know, a few years.
Yeah. It's cool though, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a kind of a sink or swim kind of situation, I suppose. Hey, Nikki, I don't know if you want me to ask this next thing, but I do ask most of the people I talk to. If people want to get hold of you or maybe talk to you about doing some co-writes or anything like that, where is the best place for them to find you?
They can just send me a DM on Instagram. That's the easiest way. Because that way I can click on their page. I can go see what they're about, you know.
Cool. And let's kind of start wrapping up with a slightly lighter-hearted question, if that's the correct phrase. So you said you listening to 80s music and dancing around in your living room. What in particular are you listening to?
I don't know. I just put the 80s channels on with the music videos because I love watching 80s music videos. They're just incredible. They're just the best thing I've ever seen. So it's just whatever comes on, and I usually just know most of it. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, man. Everybody loves a good 80s video.
I agree.
Some of the stuff are funny. Like, okay, so let's say one, a Total Eclipse of the Heart song. That music video is bizarre. It's the most bizarre video of all time, and I freaking love it. I feel like Lady Gaga like tries to be like her.
Oh yeah.
And that totally reminds me of like a Lady Gaga-esque like type thing.
Well, Nikki, we're gonna kind of finish there. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Awesome, thank you. I'm sorry it took so long.
No, not at all. No, I'm glad we got to do it. Nikki Williams, thank you so much for your time. I suggest that everybody check out the show notes so you can find where you can listen to Nikki's songs and find out more about her. But for the most part, I would just like to say thank you so much, Nikki. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. And keep writing and keep fighting the good fight. And I hope to see you out there sometime, man.
Hell yeah.
Rock and roll. Bye.
Bye.
Sweet. As usual, I would like to thank my guest, in this case, Nikki Williams, for her time. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who are still listening to my podcast for your time. I hope you're getting something from this. I know I've said it before. I hope that that's the case, you know. I mean, that's the whole point, to try and just pick up these little nuggets of information. If you are getting anything, please leave us a rating or review. It helps us get found. For more on me, you can go to travismark.com. For more on the Musician's Mentor, you can go to musicians-mentor.com. Until next time, keep on rocking. Peace.